"I'm your wife, now hold me," my alien commander whispered. The unexpected declaration. The conference room aboard the diplomatic vessel Horizon hummed with tension thick enough to cut. Captain Marcus Reed stood at attention behind the negotiating table, his dark eyes scanning the assembled delegates from 3 different star systems. This treaty could end decades of border disputes, but the Krellian ambassadors were proving difficult. Admiral Lyra Theron commanded the room without effort. The Zalarian officer moved with fluid grace, her midnight blue uniform accentuating her tall, lithe frame. Her skin held the faintest shimmer of silver, a trait of her species, and her violet eyes seemed to see through everyone they touched. Marcus had served under her for 6 months, and she still remained an enigma, brilliant, calculating, and utterly unreadable. "The terms are unacceptable," growled Ambassador Torvik, his scarred face twisted in disdain. "Why should we trust the word of a Zalarian who stands alone? Your people value bonds above all else, yet you come here unmated, uncommitted. How can we trust someone who belongs to no one?" Marcus saw the subtle shift in Lyra's posture, a predator preparing to strike. But instead of the sharp retort he expected, she moved with deliberate slowness toward him. The room fell silent. She stopped mere inches away, close enough that he could smell the faint scent of starflowers in her hair, feel the warmth radiating from her skin. Her hand rose to rest against his chest, and when she spoke, her usually commanding voice dropped to something intimate, almost vulnerable. "I am not alone," she said, her words carrying throughout the silent room while her eyes locked with his. "This is my chosen mate, my husband." Her fingers curled slightly against his uniform. "Now hold me, Marcus." Time seemed to stop. Marcus's military training warred with his complete shock. But as he looked into her violet eyes, he saw something there, a plea hidden beneath the command. Without fully understanding why, his arm moved around her waist, drawing her against him. She fit perfectly against his side, her body warm and unexpectedly soft despite her warrior's bearing. "Play along," she breathed against his ear, so quietly only he could hear. "Please." The Krellian ambassador's eyes narrowed, studying them with suspicious intensity. "Since when?" "Since now," Lyra replied, her voice regaining its edge. "According to Zalarian law, I have made my choice. Captain Reed has accepted. We are bonded." Marcus felt her hand tremble slightly where it rested against him, betraying the confidence in her voice. Behind closed doors. The door to Lyra's private quarters sealed behind them with a soft hiss. The moment they were alone, she stepped away from him, her commanding presence suddenly seeming smaller, more human, or rather, more vulnerable than he'd ever seen her. "I apologize," she said, moving to pour herself a glass of Zalarian wine with hands that weren't quite steady. "I should have warned you, but there wasn't time." Marcus remained by the door, trying to process what had just happened. "Admiral, what exactly did you just do?" "Lyra," she corrected softly. "If we're to maintain this arrangement, you should call me Lyra in private." She turned to face him, her violet eyes reflecting the starlight streaming through the viewport. "And I've just bound us together in the eyes of my people. It was the only way to secure the treaty." "But why me?" Marcus stepped further into the room, noting how different it was from what he'd expected. Instead of cold efficiency, there were soft fabrics, old books, and a painting of a sunset from a world he didn't recognize. She offered him a glass, her fingers brushing his as he took it. "Would you believe me if I said I trust you?" A sad smile played at her lips. "In 6 months, you've never once tried to undermine me, never questioned my orders out of pride, never looked at me like." She paused, "like I'm just an alien to be conquered or feared." Marcus studied her face, seeing for the first time the weight she carried. "The Krellians won't just accept this. They'll test us." "Yes." She moved to the viewport, gazing out at the stars. "We'll need to share quarters, attend functions together, and—" She turned to him, a faint blush coloring her silvered cheeks. "Be convincing." "For how long?" "The journey to the summit is 3 months. After that, Zalarian law allows for quiet dissolution if both parties agree." She met his eyes. "I'm not asking for more than appearance, Marcus. I wouldn't presume to." What if I want to know you? The words surprised him as much as her. The real you. Not the admiral, not the diplomat. Just Lyra. Her eyes widened slightly, and for a moment, he saw hope flicker there. That could be dangerous, she whispered. I've never been one to avoid danger, he replied, moving closer. Have dinner with me tomorrow. Not as admiral and captain, but as husband and wife, she finished, and for the first time, he saw her truly smile. Navigating the stars. For weeks into their journey through the Aurelius Nebula, everything had changed. Marcus found himself looking forward to their evening meals, where Lyra would shed her uniform jacket and tell him stories of her homeworld while they shared wine and watched the nebula's clouds drift past. On Zila, we have these flowers, she said, curling her legs beneath her on the couch they now comfortably shared. They only bloom during stellar storms. My mother used to say that beautiful things often come from chaos. Is that what we are? Marcus asked, his hand finding hers naturally now. Something beautiful from chaos. She intertwined their fingers, marveling at how similar yet different they were. Perhaps. I never expected. She trailed off as proximity alarms suddenly blazed to life. They moved in perfect synchronization, both racing to the bridge. An unexpected asteroid field loomed ahead, fragments of a shattered moon spinning chaotically through their path. Navigation is down, the helmsman reported, panic edging his voice. Manual control, Lyra commanded, but Marcus was already moving to the secondary station. I've got throttle and pitch, he called out. You take your and roll. For the next hour, they flew as one mind, anticipating each other's moves, threading the ship through impossible gaps. Lyra would spot an opening, and Marcus would already be adjusting their trajectory. When debris came too close, they moved in perfect harmony to evade it. As they cleared the field, the bridge crew erupted in cheers. Lyra turned to Marcus, her eyes bright with adrenaline and something else. Without thinking, she crossed to him, her hands framing his face. We make a good team, she breathed. The best, he agreed, his hands finding her waist. The kiss was inevitable, weeks of growing tension finally breaking. Her lips were soft, tasting of starlight and promises. When they parted, the bridge had gone silent, but neither cared. Perhaps we should continue this discussion in private, Lyra suggested, her professional mask sliding back into place, though her eyes remained warm. As they left the bridge together, Marcus heard someone whisper, "Now that's a bonded pair." He couldn't help but agree. What had started as pretense was becoming something real, something that made his heart race every time she looked at him. The realization both thrilled and terrified him. When walls fall. The attack came without warning at 0300 hours. Marcus woke to alarms and Lyra already moving, pulling on her uniform with practiced efficiency. Raiders, she said tersely. 3 ships. They'd grown comfortable enough that he now kept clothes in her quarters. As he dressed, she touched his arm. Marcus, if something happens. Nothing will happen, he said firmly, then softer, not before I tell you something important. Her eyes searched his, but another explosion rocked the ship. They ran for the bridge, hands briefly clasping before duty separated them. The battle was fierce. Lyra commanded with her usual brilliance while Marcus coordinated the defensive systems. But these weren't ordinary raiders, they were too organized, too well equipped. They're targeting life support, Marcus reported. Someone told them exactly where to hit us. The Krellians, Lyra said grimly. They're testing our bond after all. A direct hit sent Lyra flying across the bridge. Marcus caught her before she hit the console, his arms protective around her. I'm fine, she gasped, but he could see the cut on her forehead, the way she favored her left side. Take the con, she ordered him. I need to. No. He helped her to the command chair. We do this together, remember. For the next 2 hours, they fought side by side, Lyra directing strategy while Marcus executed with precision. When the last raider fled, they were both exhausted, bruised, but victorious. Later, in her quarters, Marcus carefully cleaned the cut on her forehead while she sat unusually still. I thought I might lose you, she admitted quietly. The thought was unbearable. "Lyra," he began, but she pressed her fingers to his lips. "I need to tell you something. This bond, what I feel for you, it stopped being pretense weeks ago. When you smile at me over morning coffee, when you listen to my stories, when you hold me like I'm something precious, Marcus, I've fallen in love with you." He cupped her face gently. "I love you too. Not because of any declaration or tradition, but because you're brilliant and brave and beautifully complex. Because you trust me with who you really are." Their kiss was different this time, deeper, hungrier, full of promise and need. When she drew him toward the bed, he followed willingly. They moved together with the same perfect synchronization they'd found in everything else, taking their time, learning each other's needs, wants, desires. Afterward, as she lay in his arms with starlight painting silver across her skin, Marcus knew he could never let her go. Choice and commitment. The Peace Summit station loomed before them, a massive structure that would host the final negotiations. 3 months had passed since that day in the conference room, and everything had changed. Marcus stood in their quarters, truly theirs now, watching Lyra pin her medals to her dress uniform. Through the reflection in the mirror, she caught his eye. "After today, the treaty will be signed," she said carefully. "The Krellians have accepted our bond as genuine." "Because it is genuine," he said, moving behind her, his hands resting on her shoulders. "Yes, but—" She turned to face him. "According to Zalarian law, we can dissolve this union quietly now. You'd be free to return to your previous posting, your life before." "Do you want that?" he asked, though her eyes already held the answer. "No," she whispered. "But I won't trap you, Marcus. You deserve a choice." He reached into his pocket, pulling out a small box. "I've already made my choice." Inside lay 2 rings, not Earth tradition, not Zalarian, but something new. They were crafted from metal from both their worlds, twisted together inseparably. "I spoke with your mother through subspace," he continued as her eyes widened. "And my family. They're all waiting for our answer." "Marcus." Tears gathered in her violet eyes. "I choose you, Lyra. Not because of declarations or politics or treaties, but because you've become my home among the stars. Because every morning I wake up eager to face whatever comes, knowing we'll face it together. Because I can't imagine a future without your hand in mine." She pulled him down for a kiss that said everything words couldn't. "Yes," she breathed against his lips. "To all of it, to forever, yes." An hour later, they stood before the assembled delegates, not as admiral and captain playing a role, but as 2 souls who'd found each other across the vastness of space. "The treaty is signed," Lyra announced to the crowd. "Peace is secured." "And something else," Marcus added, taking her hand. "We stand before you not in pretense, but in truth. What began as necessity has become choice. I choose this remarkable woman as my partner in all things." "And I choose you," Lyra said, her voice carrying the authority of command and the softness of love. "In the words of Earth, I do. And in the words of Zila, my soul recognizes yours." As they kissed to thunderous applause, even the Krellian ambassador smiled. Among the stars, 2 hearts had found their way to each other, proving that sometimes the most unexpected beginnings lead to the most beautiful endings. Their story would become legend, the human and the Zalarian who turned a political maneuver into the greatest love story the galaxy had seen. But for Marcus and Lyra, it was simply the beginning of their forever. The end.